Trump supporters under attack, going under the radar. Hello, everyone. I'm Charles Payne in for Neil Cavuto. Shocking new video surfacing showing Trump supporters targeted at a fundraiser in Minnesota. Then, outside of Trump Tower right here in New York, one protester getting into a shouting match with Trump supporter Pastor Mark Burns. Scott Martin says if there were Hillary Clinton supporters, this would be all over the TV. Also joining me, Charlie Gasparino, Morgan Ortagus, Julie Roginski, and Gary Kaltbaum. Dagen McDowell doing her usual great job sub-hosting Bulls and Bears, and Adam Lashinsky and Ben Stein are out this week. Scott, just look at this incredible video, but you're not seeing it on the mainstream media, just like those previous attacks in California.
Well, like you said, Charles, you are seeing or not seeing this type of thing happen all over the country. It's not just Minneapolis. It's not just California. We had it some months ago in Chicago. It's all these attacks, all these protests sponsored by leftist Democratic groups like MoveOn.org, creating panic, hurting Trump supporters by intimidating them with violence. But the mainstream media, Mr. and Mrs. Voter, doesn't want you to see it because they don't want you to know the truth.
Gary K., in fact, to Scott's point, if you were just an average or sort of an apolitical watcher of political media, you would think that this was happening vice versa.
Look, let's not call them media. Let's not call them journalists. They are the public relations department for the Hillary Clinton campaign. But it's not just on Trump. It's everybody else. Anybody who they don't like, they go after. And just remember, there was one guy at a Trump campaign that knocked out somebody. They covered it for 3 days. Now when you see this, it is crickets and we don't see anything. They don't even pretend anymore about who they are and what they're doing. And it's unfortunate because you know who does the job for them now? People like Judicial Watch and people who actually do an investigating on things that are going on the other side. And I wish it was the other way, but it's not. Yeah,
Julie, what do you make of it? I mean, certainly I think even liberals would agree that there's a certain degree of bias when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Well, first of all, it's unacceptable on either side. It does happen on other sides, but we also learned about this from the Washington Post, which to me is the most mainstream media of all mainstream media outlets. Look, I'm going to say this. The difference here is this. You don't have Hillary Clinton from the stage yelling at her supporters, get him out of here, I'm going to pay for your legal fees if you get roughed up, if the police arrest you. That's what you have Donald Trump doing. That's why
to
it's
the point
so
I think
attention.
people are making, Charlie, is that we've seen that, though. People get to see that, and it's fair that you point that out. Unfortunately, most of America don't see these other images.
Yes, I would say that, okay, Donald stepped over the line when he did that. We all know that more than once. Hillary Clinton steps over the line, but not condemning this. This is, let's be real clear here, this is 30 times worse than what the Trump supporters do, the crazy stuff they do at his rallies. And I'm saying this as someone who's not necessarily a big, pound the table for Donald Trump guy. I mean, this is really bad. It is a violation of the First Amendment. It is horrible that the New York Times doesn't cover this every day. I'm going to tell you this. I went to the Philadelphia convention, okay? I don't know, you were there for a time.
I certainly was.
You were there?
Sweltering.
It was sweltering hot, and guess what? The far left of this country, these idiots that Hillary Clinton is looking to basically bring in her coalition, were burning Israeli flags outside, and nobody reported it.
Well, this week, guys, I mean,
or few people. I shouldn't say nobody, because someone's going to attack me for Media Matters. It was reported, but it was well below the fold.
Sure. I mean, I think we all get the gist. And Media Matters, forget it. They have their own agenda anyway. Hey, here's the thing, though. Pastor Burns, right? He's been on our network. He's becoming a face, particularly a black face within the Trump organization. He was virtually, accosted, coming through the revolving doors. He was barely through the revolving doors. If someone can't walk home from one of these events, then I think you certainly have crossed the line, Morgan.
Yeah, I agree. It's a sad state in political affairs, especially when a pastor isn't protected. And I think both sides can give examples. Well, you did this at a Clinton rally, you did this at a Trump rally. So what we need is one of the two of them to stand up and be a leader. Right. Condemn your side, as Charlie said. If your side gets out of line, condemn your side. But this is really bad for the country, that we can't have political discourse and that people can't attend fundraisers or rallies. Both of them. Somebody stand up and lead and take control of the nastiness of this campaign.
It's anarchy, and the police in this country, as much as listen, I don't sit around attacking cops, but they are allowing anarchy to go on in the face because of political correctness. They should be cracking down on this crap. I mean, why aren't police out there saying that pastor can go home now without being accosted?
In all fairness, I don't think
because they're afraid.
I'll go to you, Scott, but I don't think the police were prepared for that. I think this is such a unique and evolving situation. It is getting ugly, and it is getting sad that you're going to have police stationed at places that normally you give an event, you go home. So I don't know that I think everyone's caught flat-footed here, but that's one of the problems, Scott. If the media doesn't report it, then how can you get increased scrutiny?
Charles, you are so right. Go back a few months to Chicago, which was the Trump rally that was canceled because of the protest due to MoveOn.org getting way too many people there, overwhelming the police and taking that over. See, that's the other problem, guys, and Julie kind of touched on it. It's not so much that Hillary needs to bemoan this. It's also MoveOn.org and some of these other organizations that are so strong that can get people to rally that they overwhelm the police, so therefore they're
let's be really clear. The police never asked Donald Trump to cancel that rally. He didn't have the courage to go to Chicago and have that rally.
That's a big difference.
Listen, he can't go to a major city in America and have a rally, and with all the Secret Service he's got around him, he's suddenly not blaming the protesters.
Gary Kay, maybe that's the point, Gary Kay, is that maybe these are large cities with large populations, and the police have not been prepared. Maybe you got to go back to the 60s, 68 or something like that for this sort of vitriolic display of animosity played out in such a physical manner.
Look, if the media is not doing their job, it's going to get worse and worse. Just remember, this is not surprising to me. Remember how they covered Occupy Wall Street versus the Tea Party. They kissed Occupy Wall Street's butt, even though they were a horror show on what they looked like, what they acted like, versus the Tea Party. They just didn't like what the Tea Party was about. So we're at a point right now that if this continues, something bad will eventually happen. Then somebody's going to have to report some real bad news.
This is more than just the media. This is the police of this country backing down in the face of this stuff. They are afraid to go after.
They're afraid, Charles.
Well, that's the point. They're afraid. But I am telling you,
they're worried about what's been happening to them.
But they shouldn't be, because here's the thing: people's lives are at stake. And I'm telling you this, Charles. Occupy Wall Street was allowed to stay down there. When you went down there, I went down there. It was disgusting. We went to the thick of it, They were doing drugs. They were starting fights. They were like keeping people up at night. They were making noise. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. But the Bloomberg administration at the time was so politically correct, they didn't want to end it until it got so far out of hand. And listen, the Chicago police are trained to handle.
Hold on one second. It makes it easier for the police to do their job when the public understands what kind of challenge they're facing. And if the public never sees this, then it does make it harder. And again, I get there's a huge responsibility on more fairness within the media to show what's happening out there, because so far it's been a one-sided conversation with the media and the American public on what's been happening.
That's why you're seeing the democratization of the media, why people are going to websites, Vox.com, Twitter, Facebook. People are looking for more places, Fox News, in order to get their news sources, because if you ask anybody out here on the street in New York, ask 10 people, do you think that the news treats Republicans or treats anybody fairly? No one thinks that. So this is what people are doing.
All right, guys, let's leave it there. In the meantime, Hillary Clinton